From your regular day-to-day office going jobs, somebody can actually oversee you and manage you there, and enough scoping done for what you have to do, how you have to do, and nobody has to babysit you in order to complete the projects altogether. For example, some companies let you stay in your home country and do the work remotely, and taxations work accordingly. You need to find relevant websites for, let's say, some location specific remote jobs, or let's say overall remote jobs. Remote companies which are, let's say, very small in terms of the number of employees, they do not have time for generalists. People will expect you to solve a very specific problem. If you want to get a remote job in 2026, then your old school strategy of just, let's say, directly applying via LinkedIn or the career site and hoping for the best is definitely not enough. Nowadays, remote jobs actually attract more applications than your regular jobs altogether. Of course, because they give you the flexibility of working from anywhere. So in 2026, remote jobs is not just about skills. It's also about how much clarity you have about the role, how you can actually lead yourself and do the tasks independently in your role, how well you communicate and how well you excel and drive the complete project end to end. All of these things actually make a complete profile that will help you to get shortlisted for these remote jobs. So in this particular video, I'm going to talk about what are some of the important things that you need to keep in mind for preparing for your next interviews in terms of remote jobs. All of these, I would say, ideas and all of these pointers I have gathered from a few friends who recently interviewed for a lot of interesting companies which were kind of like remote first, based out of Europe. So without any further ado, let's just start. But before starting the video, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, do consider subscribing because we are going to put some really awesome content coming up ahead. So let's just start. So before moving forward in the video, I would like to tell you about the brand new offering of AlgoCamp, which is the Lambda 5.0 course. So this is the 5th iteration of the flagship advanced backend development course with Node.js, but this time it's bigger and better. This time, AlgoCamp has introduced a lot of new projects. The whole ecosystem is going to be more AI powered. There are projects including Lovable Clone, your own AI fitness tracker, own AI interview planner and interview prep, I would say, tool. There is some deep engineering concepts around distributed transaction using which you're going to make a payment system or a payment wallet system altogether. There's going to be a workflow manager project. You're going to try to understand how exactly you can use the concepts of, let's say, CDC in order to implement different projects. A lot of deep technical projects and deep technical understanding you are going to get. This particular course is going to focus on making sure that you understand the system architectures and deep system concept that a lot of senior engineers are always involved with, and try to make projects on top of that. You are going to see actual scaling strategies, replication strategies, how you can make sure that your system is fault tolerant, and concepts around, let's say, Kafka, concept around Redis and whatnot. There is so many different projects that are actually added, including a WhatsApp system, something like a Netflix-like system, a Twitch-like system, a lot of AI-powered tools. We are going to actually make something like Lovable Clone and whatnot. Do check out the link in the description section below. Get the idea about all the projects that you are going to get and build. This is something that will take you from an absolutely beginner level backend developer to a very advanced level backend engineer altogether. We have received such great testimonies from the last set of batches, and people are actually loving what we have already built, but this time we have made sure that this is bigger and better. So do check out the link in the description section below and use this coupon code to get massive discounts on the current price. And now let's go back to the video. Now see, remote job is also just a job. It's just that from your regular day-to-day office going jobs, somebody can actually oversee you and manage you there. In remote jobs, people actually expect you to be as independent as possible and drive your projects end to end as much as possible. They expect that you have enough clarity and enough scoping done for what you have to do, how you have to do, and nobody has to babysit you in order to complete the projects altogether. In fact, remote startups actually expect more maturity from you because they don't have enough bandwidth or enough people to actually constantly monitor you and constantly keep giving you tasks that you can do one at a time. They expect that you are going to independently grow in your role and manage multiple things autonomously. That means that if you're looking for a remote role, you need to devise a proper strategy in terms of where do you want to apply, how the interviews probably will look like, and once you clear them, how you can actually excel in all of these roles. That's what we are going to actually talk about in detail. Let's start with point number 1. That is how you can actually find the relevant remote job. See, don't just go to LinkedIn or just don't go to Google and search for remote jobs 2026. That's not how you can find the relevant remote jobs. You need to first of all have understanding of where do you want to actually work. For example, some companies let you stay in your home country and do the work remotely and taxations work accordingly. Some companies do expect you to relocate. For example, there might be some German startups who can actually expect that you can work remotely, but you have to stay in Germany for that, mainly because they want you to be in the same time zone to get the best work out of you, right? So you need to understand what locations you are actually okay with. If you find opportunities that actually expect you to stay anywhere, that's even better. But sometimes you can find remote jobs based out of specific countries. For example, you can find remote jobs in UK. So you can stay anywhere in the UK, but you still have to relocate to the UK. You don't need to go to the office daily. Apart from that, you should start looking for specializations. See, if you are looking for a role in very small remote startups, let's say less than 50 engineer team, then in that case, they cannot expect to hire someone who they can train and then they will be able to contribute meaningfully. The worst they can expect is, let's say you take a week or two to get onboarded and you can just start shipping new features with the best possible autonomy, best possible quality and best possible scale. That's why a lot of these startups look for specialized engineers. For example, they might expect that they want to hire a Node.js engineer with experience in payments, or let's say a .NET engineer with experience in legacy code bases, or let's say a data engineer with specific expectations around PySpark and so on. So a lot of times these roles will expect you to have specific understanding of a tech stack or a framework. Of course, if you know a framework which is very transferable, for example, let's say the startup expects you to know Django and Python, but let's say you know Ruby on Rails. These two frameworks are very, very similar. The language is very, very similar, and most of the knowledge is pretty much transferable. You should definitely directly go forward and apply to that, right? But of course, if they expect you to have good knowledge of legacy Java systems and let's say old school Java systems, and let's say you don't know anything about Java, then of course your chances are a bit less. So try to filter based on what you already know, what are your primary skills, what you are really good at, and also when you are applying, try to make sure that you shape up your resume according to that. Let's say you know Node.js and Python both, but let's say the role is more about Python with Flask and let's say some ML experience overall. So try to tailor your resume according to that, right? Also, you need to find relevant websites for let's say some location specific remote jobs or let's say overall remote jobs. Definitely platforms like Wellfound etc. are very well known, but you should also look for other interesting websites. For example, Welcome to the Jungle. Here you will find interesting opportunities, or let's say even on LinkedIn you can find some really great opportunities altogether. Try to actually connect to people, then also you will learn a lot more about the remote ecosystem, and definitely you can actually land up a interview if somebody is ready to refer you as well. So all of these things combined will actually help you to confine your search in remote jobs. So as I already said that remote companies which are let's say very small in terms of the number of employees, they do not have time for generalist. Like for example, a small CRM company might have to compete with very big CRM players like Salesforce or HubSpot, right? They cannot expect that you will first of all learn about the CRM ecosystem, learn about Node.js, let's say if their tech stack in Node.js, and then contribute. They want somebody who can just right forward come in and start kicking features altogether from day one. So that's why whatever is your specialization can actually help you to get a job way more faster if you apply with the right relevant skills which you have and what the company actually needs, right? Don't be like, I'm just open to anything, right? Be like, I have worked in this particular domain, I have experience with this particular tech stack, I know I can actually move forward and also contribute in your company. You have to show the rigor to the recruiters, to the interviewers that yes, you are somebody who can be actually trusted, that you can build very good features with very minimalistic, I would say, hand-holding and very good quality based on your existing experience. And I believe that is one more reason why you will find relatively a bit less jobs for junior engineers with let's say no experience altogether, because these remote startups want to see some experience, maybe in terms of some meaningful projects or let's say in terms of, let's say, your past work, let's say you have worked in some companies for 3 to 4 years, or let's say your open source contribution, they are actually going to look for some proof of work, that the specialization that they want to hire for, do you have relevant skills corresponding to that or not? And of course, if not directly, then whether your skills are transferable or not. This is going to help you a lot in order to actually shape up your application in the corresponding remote world. So if you want a remote job, your positioning should be much more sharper. They should be able to see that if we are hiring this particular candidate, what specific skill they actually bring onto the plate. Maybe specific in terms of domain, in terms of tech stack, in terms of, let's say, a particular part of the project, what is special with you, and whether you will be able to do everything without handholding or not. Now, as I already mentioned, that it's not like you just put things in your resume and you can expect that you will be actually shortlisted. You need definitely a couple of things. First is a proof of work. You need to have relevant projects mentioned in your resume, and let's say definitely, of course, you need to point them towards the GitHub repositories where you can actually show that the skills that you have mentioned in your resume are actually something that you have learned while making meaningful things, right? You should have, let's say, for example, if you are more into conferences, if you are more into open source contributions, if you have worked somewhere in the past, all of these things will add up to your proof of work. Don't be somebody who is just making crud applications and expecting that some remote startup will actually hire you, because they just don't want generalists. They want people who have solved meaningful engineering problems with as high autonomy as possible. You should be somebody who is able to do architectural breakdowns, who is actually able to review others' code as well. And of course, in this complete fiasco of AI disrupting everything, you should be able to adapt to new AI tools, new AI engineering tools way more faster. This is what people actually need. And if you are able to produce a proof of work for that, you have a very high chance of getting shortlisted. Now, I need to definitely put this particular point with as much stress as possible, that remote interviews are not like your regular FANG interviews or big tech interviews where you are going to be mostly asked data structures and algorithmic questions, or let's say a very high level system design question. Here, people are going to ask you questions with much low level details. People will expect you to solve a very specific problem, right? It's not going to be just some data structures and algorithmic problem. Instead, the most of the rounds are going to be somewhere around building new things. For example, a lot of remote startups nowadays have started giving machine coding round where they will expect you to build the same product with, let's say, a very small scale, right? In some of the interviews, you will be allowed to use AI. Some of the interviews, you won't be allowed to use AI altogether. In a lot of algorithmic rounds, apart from just applying an algorithm directly, they might expect you to have some dev effort done first on top, like bring a dev first problem, and then on that particular problem, you might be technically, let's say, applying some algorithmic stuff. For example, let's say some companies, if you are applying for a front-end role, can actually expect that you need to write the front-end code for preparing the folder structure, just like how you see in VS Code. Now here, there's a lot of front-end concepts involved and a lot of algorithmic concepts involved in terms of how you will parse the trees, how you will structure all the folders in the relevant levels, and so on. So this actually shows that these startups are looking for people who have actual hands-on capabilities, who can solve much more deeper problems. In these companies, you will not find people asking you system design around design Netflix, design YouTube. Instead, they will ask you very niche problem. For example, let's say if you are making an emailing platform, then you might have to, let's say, sync emails from existing email providers like, let's say, Gmail, Yahoo, etc. How will you prepare this syncing pipeline? What will happen when a lot of people will get onboarded to your email platform? How exactly you will handle the crashes, how you will handle the retries, how you will scale up this platform. So you can see it's a very niche and a very specific system design problem altogether. It's not your general problem that you can find anywhere altogether. So that's how you need to prepare, that these interviews are not, you will not find a lot of interview experiences, just like how you find a lot of interview experiences of Amazon and Google on LeetCode. You will not find that. That's why for these startups, you have to rely on a lot of information given to you by your recruiters, right? You will not find like dedicated interview experiences from, let's say, last 3 to 5 years in order to prepare. So here, all of these interviews are going to expect good hands-on work, good specialization, and I would say deep skills in whatever ecosystem you are actually applying for. Now, with all of these pointers in mind, I believe that you need to prepare not just for your interviews, but also how you will actually end up working and how your day-to-day work will be in a remote startup. You should be somebody who is able to communicate your thoughts well. You are somebody who is able to autonomously control and deliver projects. You need to start building up skills around that. You should be someone who is able to plan your, I would say, next couple of sprints. You should be able to plan all of your tasks and have the capability to execute, and also if you are blocked, get unblocked with as less help as possible. In terms of interviews, as I already said, your recruiters are going to be your main point of contact, who are going to actually tell you what is the exact set of requirements in each of the round, because you don't have like interview experiences. What kind of possible questions can actually come up? And do keep in mind that in a lot of interviews, these remote startups might ask you questions very specific to their domain. For example, let's say if you're applying to a robotic startup, they might be asking you designing questions around designing fleet of robots which might be controlled from, let's say, a particular center. Or let's say if you're applying to a CRM platform, they might ask you very specific questions around that, and so on. Sometimes a lot of companies nowadays have moved to a lot of AI first engineering roles. So they might expect some AI engineering concepts as well and would like to see how you leverage AI in your day-to-day work. And that should also reflect out of your interviews in case AI enabling is actually allowed. So all of these things you need to keep in mind. And apart from that, keep your fundamentals strong. You should be somebody who is able to spin up servers in, let's say, whatever language or skills you have, like in, let's say, in Python. You should be able to actually design databases for some good complex applications altogether. You should be able to understand what are the problems that actually come up with distributed architecture. You should be somebody who should be able to deploy their complete code base with, let's say, as much autonomy on, let's say, cloud providers as possible, and you should be able to maintain them as well. Concepts of observability and monitoring is something that they will definitely bare minimum expect out of you, that you will keep all of these things in mind. So prepare according to that, right? Definitely the system design concepts that you learn for preparing for big tech interviews are going to be relevant here, but as I said, the problems might not be direct. The problems will be very specific on building a specific feature. So try to prepare according to that. And the best way would be try to reach out to people who are already doing remote jobs. Try to understand their interview experiences, and if possible, try to also give a couple of mock interviews if you find people who are ready to take yours. This is going to actually solidify your preparation. And I would say, of course, data structures and algorithms are definitely important, but they are not the utmost important part. So don't be like, if you want and your goal is to have a remote job, you will not find a lot of benefit in solving, let's say, 500, 600 lead code questions. Instead, try to be having a more builder approach. Try to have a more engineering first approach where you are solving complex engineering problems, understanding the niche, and then building solutions on top. So these are all the things that I believe you definitely need to keep in mind if you're looking for a role in any remote job in 2026. All of these pointers that I have collated were actually coming from a lot of my friends who gave interviews recently for a lot of European remote startups. So thanks to all of them as well. So if you have any questions, do let me know in the comment section below. I would be definitely happy to answer all of them. That being said, let's wrap this particular video here. We're going to meet soon in the next set of videos. Till then, take care. Bye-bye. I'm Sanket Singh, signing off.